keen observer of my last video, how to form your ideal esports team, might have noticed that I didn't actually teach you anything about forming your esports team. I just taught you how to tell the low tiers to f*** off. If you've taken that advice to heart, you might have noticed that you've gone nowhere. That sure as hell beats going backwards like what would have happened had you not watched my last video. Today, I'm actually going to show you how to form your ideal esports team by teaching you how to run games. Some people think that running games is an art, where it doesn't actually matter how good you or the person you're running with are. All that matters is whether or not chemistry is there and makes everything else fall into place. Those people are stupid. Today, I'm going to teach you how to run games scientifically. Let's get started. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to go ahead and assume that your 3 ideal players that you wanted to team with either ignored your messages or lied to you about the fact that they wanted to run games. Therefore, that leaves 3 different types of players that you can run games with, and each of these 3 types needs to be handled differently. These 3 types are people who are way worse than you, people who are worse than you, and people who are nearly but not quite as good as you. Now, many people's first instinct in running games is to play matchmaking, but I must advise strongly against this because matchmaking takes everything out of your controls. The matches you get are made by someone else. You want to keep everything within your control. You want the good players to think that you're good, and you want the bad players to no longer be interested. Let me show you a simple chart that breaks down the 4 different types of teams you can play against while you're running games, and when you want to play against each of these 4 types. Now, the 4 types of teams can be broken down by 2 key qualities. Quality number 1 is how good they actually are at Halo. Quality number 2 is how good they're perceived to be. Let's talk about the first type of team that you can scrim against. Teams that are good, that people think are good. I like to call these the Weakachus. Weakachu-like teams should be avoided at all costs. These teams will remind you why you're going to these tournaments with zero ambition of winning and you're striving hard to get 24th place. They will beat you mercilessly 11-0, and nothing good will come out of it. Another problem is that because they're perceived to be good, a bad player might not be disheartened by losing to a team like this. They might think, of course the Weakachu team was going to beat us, but perhaps we could do better against an easier team, like yours. Moving on to the second type of team you can play, teams that are actually bad that people think are good. This group is made up of your 2009 Halo pros who haven't touched a controller since then that think they're just going to instantly return to their former glory, as well as H5 kids and overrated Twitch streamers. These types of teams are good to play against when you're running with someone you'd actually go to the event with. You'll easily beat them because quite honestly they're a bad team, but people you're running with might misinterpret them for actually being a good team, in which case they see you as an even better Halo player and someone that now they're seriously considering going to the event with. Moving on to the third type of team, teams whose actual skill is good, but their perceived skill is bad. This group encompasses your COD pros who for some reason are taking a year to play Halo, as well as your up-and-coming 14-year-olds who will be pro long before you. These types of teams are great to play against when you're running with someone you have no interest at all in going to the event with. Perhaps you tried to ignore their messages or lie to them, but something fell through and now you're stuck running games with them. You should run against these teams when you're trying to get absolutely demolished by a team that no one thinks is any good. Therefore, bad players that you're running with lose all interest in playing with you. Finally, we have our 4th category. People whose actual skill is bad, and their perceived skill is also bad. This group encompasses you, the viewer. Because why else would you be watching this video? Playing against people in this category is extremely versatile, and is a good option no matter who you're trying to run with. When you're running with good people, you can win every single game and say, see, look, we can take care of business together. Well, also, you can run with people who are bad, and even though you win every game, can say, well, see, we should have been winning by more because they suck. These types of teams are great to scrim against no matter who you're running with, and the best part is they're all dying to get in scrims against top teams like yours, so you always have a dozen just waiting on the sidelines trying to get in. Congratulations, you now have the tools to form your ideal esports team. Be sure to subscribe so that while you're losing scrims, you're ready for my next video, how to be shady.
God damn, you suck.